Hey there guys, I am the Six Machine and welcome back to another Warhammer video. With the Warzone Octarius Book 2 coming up for pre-order this Saturday, we are of course expecting two big new things for the Orks, and that is the brand new Bloodaxes supplement and the Speed Freaks Army of Renown. And today Warhammer community very kindly showed us a few of their exciting, unique new rules that they will be bringing to the tabletop. So let's take a look and see whether any of these rules will push the greenskins even higher in the levels of power of 9th edition. And first up we have the very sneaky Bloodaxes, who are much more of a cunning, sneaky clan than some of the others, and a lot of their units that they use are things like commandos and that sort of thing. This supplement definitely seems to double down on that, bringing with it a slew of stratagems, two of which they show off today: Got 'em Trapped and Spotted 'em. And Got 'em Trapped is a really solid stratagem in my opinion, if admittedly a little bit fiddly to get off. Essentially, you select an enemy unit that is in engagement range of 2 of your Bloodaxe units, and it notes you can't have characters as that unit, it has to be 2 full-on units, and for 2 CP, all of your guys in engagement range get exploding 6s in combat. So yes, you do have to get this all set up and get multiple units into melee range of your target and everything before you can activate it, but when you do get it off, it is going to be very strong. And what I also like about it is that it gets exponentially better the more units that you have in engagement range with that target. So with 2 squads in melee range for 2 CP, yeah, it's not bad. Giving 2 squads exploding 6s is probably worth 2 CP. But if you manage to get 3 squads in engagement range, or maybe even 4, then it is going to be an absolute bucket load of exploding attacks that you can be chucking into your target. The other strat they show off, Spotted 'em, is less good. I mean, let's be honest, it's actually just pretty bad. It pretty much just gives a unit of commandos ignores cover on their guns, which, I mean, for 1 CP, I guess seems okay. But the problem is commandos have got really crap guns. That isn't why you bring commandos in your army. And with this stratagem, you are essentially paying 1 command point to give just a load of sluggers and then maybe a big shooter or a super shooter the ability to ignore cover. It's really not even worth 1 command point, in my opinion. But then they do make up for it with an absolutely hilarious relic, which is the last thing that they show off for the Bloodaxes in this teaser. And this is the brand new custom Auspex for the Orks, which is called the Fight Detector. And with this relic, I'll be honest, I think it is actually relatively easy for your opponent to avoid it if they want to, but when it does go off, it's going to be really powerful and also really hilarious. Essentially, at the end of your opponent's reinforcement step, if they are within 12 inches of the bearer of the relic, you can select a Bloodaxe core unit within 6 inches of the bearer, and they can just straight up charge your opponent straight out of Deep Strike. And on top of that, they also get +2 to that charge roll. So if your opponent isn't thinking properly, or they plan poorly and they can only, deploy their reinforcements in one specific location, then they may well drop in a squad of Inceptors or Assault Marines or whatever it may be, and then before they can even get a shot off or move or whatever, your boys will be right up in their face. And what's great about this is that it doesn't just stop them from charging in their turn, because they'll be in combat, but also it will stop any shooting that they may do coming into the rest of your army. Obviously if they have pistols, they can shoot your squad of boys that's engaged with them, but they can't shoot anything like their melter guns or their plasma or whatever into whatever they were hoping to shoot before they charged, because obviously they are going to be locked in combat with your unit that just charged into them. So really, this is a very powerful relic that, in the right hands, can definitely completely neuter a squad's damage as they come in, but also potentially wipe out the entire squad before they can even have a single full turn on the board. And as I said, it is easy to work around because you could just measure to drop outside that 12-inch bubble if, you're a canny opponent. But in that case, it still works quite well as just a deep strike deterrent and will stop an opponent getting that long bomb charge on you when they come in from reinforcements. And then when you do manage to get this relic to go off and you do get that charge off into your opponent's squad, just the look on your opponent's face as they get swarmed by your boys within seconds of arriving on the battlefield is going to be genuinely priceless. On the other side of the coin, we also get the brand new Army of Renown for the Speed Freaks, and these guys are very, very different to the Bloodaxes. We don't know the exact requirements or restrictions on the Army of Renown yet, the article doesn't say, but I think it's pretty safe to assume it will be minimal or no foot units and just pure bikes and buggies and maybe infantry mounted in things like trucks, which, as I said in the earlier video, is a pretty cool army idea. Like, I really like that mobile, sort of like Gorka Morka style all biker and buggy orc list. I think it fits really, really nicely with a lot of the orc lore and aesthetic, and I think it's really, really fun to play as well. But then in return for whatever the restrictions end up being, they get what appears to be one of the unique specialist mob style rules that are in the new Orc Codex, where they lose their culture. So Evil Sons or Goths or Death Skulls, you can bring this Army of Renown, but they won't get your Goths culture trait or your Death Skulls culture trait, and instead they replace it with this. And this thing here, the Adrenaline Junkies rule, is quite simply amazing for a bikes and buggies list. As you can see, as I said, you lose your clan culture, but in return you gain +1 attack on the charge, or when you heroically intervene, the ability to advance and still fire your weapons as if you would only move normally, so all of those advance and fire dagger complaints can now be very nicely put away. And then on top of that, you also get a 6-up invuln, and if you've advanced, that gets boosted to a 5-up invuln. So it's almost like a smaller version of the Ravenwing Jink ability as well. And honestly, this is just so strong if you have that style of Speed Freaks list and you want your bikers to be moving all around the board much faster, able to fire when they are making those huge 20-inch moves, be a bit fightier in combat as well when they do charge in with that extra attack, and then also having the extra bonus of just being that bit more durable with that 6 or that 5-up invuln. It is honestly, I think, very much worth considering in a lot of lists, especially if you are running a lot of buggies and bikers and other speed freak units. I do think that one of the restrictions may be that you need a speed boss as your warlord rather than the war boss, so you will be getting extensive use out of the speed warg rather than the regular warg, but again, that's not a bad thing. This will really help things, especially your bikers, to again just move around really fast, get a load of shots because you get the extra shots from the speed warg at a better AP, and you can do it while you're advancing with this Army of Renown as well. They also show off what looks to be a brand new Warlord trait, and that is called Speed King, which pretty much just turns your Warlord or your Speed Boss, whatever it may be, into a Lieutenant, giving him a 6-inch aura where all friendly Speed Freaks units can reroll wound rolls of 1. So in addition to all those extra shots, the extra AP and the Speed Warg, and the extra attack on top on the charge, you will be wounding much more reliably as well. I don't know if this Warlord trait will be worth taking over some of the others in the Codex, but it is quite a nice thematic fluffy one that you could potentially put on a biker boss or a Deathkiller Wartrike to help just make your wounding that much more reliable. All in all, both of these new mini rule sets look to be a whole lot of fun, I think. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that as it stands, the Speed Freaks one looks more powerful, I think. Being able to swap out a potentially useless or less useful culture into one which works incredibly well with bikes and buggies will, in my opinion, very much offset any downside that there may be, like not being able to bring infantry or whatever the restrictions are. And I also think, personally, it will be a lot more fun. So out of the two, I think the Speed Freaks Army Renown is definitely the big winner, but the Bloodaxe supplement definitely has a lot of teeth to it as well, and if you like that more cunning, commando, sneaky style of gameplay as well, that could well lend itself very nicely to a more commando-themed orc list, if that's your thing. It'll be interesting to see what the rest of the relics and traits and stratagems that both of these get, but so far, I think they are both looking pretty deadly on the battlefield, and also very, very fun to play. But what do you think of these two sets of rules? Which do you think sounds the most fun, and will you be replacing your current orc culture or list with either of these two options? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do like and subscribe for more Warhammer content from me, But until next time, I'll catch you later, guys.